Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another awesome weekly Forex forecast and market analysis with me, Tremaine, and we're gonna get started on our weekly market preparation. Now to get started guys, we're gonna go through 4 awesome pairs in today's weekly market analysis, which is going to be our 3 AUD based pairs, which is Aussie CAD, Aussie JPY, Aussie dollar, and as well as we're going to add US30. Now to get started guys, we're gonna go straight into Aussie CAD. We're gonna go up to the 4 hour just so that we can get a reference of some higher time frame structure. And what we will see guys is some daily resistance areas from this resistance trend line, or rather marked out by this resistance trend line. We have our resistance up there, we have new resistance, hence we've drawn our resistance trend line. And what we've seen in the most recent price action is prices impulsively breaking our resistance trend line to the upside, making that new sign of strength for us, as well breaking above our previous resistance areas over there. So guys, now that we've spoken about, or rather referenced our higher time frame structure, we'll get into the most recent price action and just observe what's been going on. So we've spoken about basically prices giving us this important key resistance area that we've seen our nice sign of strength by market breaking and closing above, breaking and closing back below. What we've then seen is also prices descending towards the downside, establishing some resistance, some support, new resistance, new support, new resistance at the same key area, and then obviously we see a nice impulsive break of structure. So looking at things guys, what we're going to be doing over the course of next week is, now that we've got this nice beautiful sign of strength from Aussie CAD, we're not expecting markets to be creating a new lower low. So what we're going to be looking for guys is for a nice higher low to form somewhere in and around this area for the potential upside continuation. Now on Aussie CAD guys, because we've already seen a nice retest of this level of structure over here, what we're going to be waiting for, and especially on those higher time frames like the 4 hour, like the H1, we're going to be waiting for prices to give us a nice beautiful double bottom structure, or rather reversal structure. So what we're going to be waiting to see prices do is, now that we've had one reaction from this price action, we're going to wait to see that same level of structure being respected by price again in the future, whether it comes in the form of an inverse head and shoulders or in the form of a beautiful double bottom structure with a nice break and a retest of a neckline. We're going to be bullish bias on this pair, waiting to see prices tap into important key areas and then obviously give us a beautiful buy setup. So guys, on Aussie CAD, we're bullish over the course of next week. We've seen that nice break of structure to the upside. All we're waiting for is for this higher low structure to form, and then obviously that upside continuation. So we're gonna go over to the next pair that we're going to have a look at, and that is AUDJPY. So guys, on AUDJPY, what we will see, if we just reference our structure, our higher time frame structure rather, is a nice beautiful higher time frame setup that can give us the potential to trade a nice inverse head and shoulders. So what we see here on AUDJPY is some prices giving us, or rather coming in from the upside, creating support, giving us a nice set of equal highs guys, and then pushing all the way down, establishing some support, entering another corrective structure, giving us our beautiful head of our inverse head and shoulders. We see prices coming back up to the neckline. One important thing about this is that we do also have a sign of strength, which we will speak about just now, and then obviously we see prices right now in and around an area for the termination of that right shoulder. So we're expecting guys a right shoulder to form and terminate somewhere within this area for that upside continuation to meet and complete our, or rather where our inverse head and shoulders started. So we want to see structure basically completing this nice inverse head and shoulder structure on our higher time frame structure. So that's exactly what we'll be looking at, and that's what we'll be looking for when we on the smaller time frames, or rather right now in this most recent price action. So on the 4 hour guys, what we will see is a beautiful sign of strength that we referenced earlier on. We see these buyers sending prices above previous resistance areas where we've seen sellers sending prices down from. So we understand by prices breaking above this area of resistance that there are buyers in this market. So now that we've seen a nice higher high, what we've basically seen is a potential reversal of trend. We've seen support, we've seen resistance, new support, and now we're seeing a new higher high. So what we're expecting in this area here is prices to round off, decelerate for us, and give us that beautiful higher low structure for the continuation to the upside. Now, if we look at our most recent price action, guys, what you will see is that we've only established our resistance trend line, just highlighting our important resistance areas for the purposes of managing our bias and our trade. So what we're going to be doing on AUDJPY, guys, is we're approaching a nice, beautiful area of support over here on our 4-hour, where we could see prices obviously reacting from in the future. So what we'll be waiting for, guys, is a nice round off and deceleration of price within this area, waiting for us to basically see prices giving us a nice deceleration. Once we're in this area and we see prices decelerate, we'll be waiting for that break of structure. So once we see this break of structure to the upside, guys, we then will start beginning to look for our entries. So we'll either obviously pay attention to price action to see if we get a nice corrective move into our support structures. We'll open ourselves to looking for those risk entries. Otherwise, guys, we need to wait and see prices violate our resistance areas, obviously, and then come back and correct into structure for that bullish continuation to the upside. So whether we get this risk entry or this reduced risk entry, guys, we're extremely bullish on AUDJPY. We're also going to be using this resistance trend line to manage our position and say that when prices and if prices do manage to violate this resistance trend line, we will only be looking for bullish biased structure. So we're going to be opening ourselves up, guys, to either those risk entries below our price action, or rather below our trend line, just based off how price action develops. Otherwise, we're waiting for this beautiful break of our resistance trend line before we start looking for our nice bullish setups. So guys, on AUDJPY for the course of next week, we're going to be nice and bullish bias, guys, just waiting for prices to give us this beautiful setup and a nice entry. Otherwise, risk to reward ratio, guys, looks amazing. Everything is looking like it's amazing, guys. We just need to wait for that entry on AUDJPY. Let's go over to the next pair that we're going to have a look at, and that is Aussie dollar. Now for Aussie dollar, guys, I'm going to reference a lot of similar looking structure as to AJ. So what we have here is a nice higher time frame inverse head and shoulders, or rather the potential to create this inverse head and shoulders. So we see prices coming in from these beautiful equal highs, establishing some new support, entering a corrective structure, creating some resistance, then giving us a nice push to the downside, establishing some support, and also creating the head of our inverse head and shoulder. Then we see prices basically coming up to create this unequal neckline, and now we're at the potential to create that right shoulder for the completion of this nice higher time frame inverse head and shoulders at the beginning of the structure. So this is basically our higher time frame bias, what we're seeing slightly longer term on AU. Now if we come into the most recent price action, just to explain a little bit on what's been going on here, what we will be able to do rather is identify the nature of price action. So we are seeing a nice beautiful sign of strength, prices being able to break above previous resistance areas. We're also seeing a beautiful impulsive move to the upside, thereafter prices entering a nice corrective structure. So you can also slap on your tool that measures the date and see that we only took 7 days to make this move to the upside. We then took 14 days to make this move to the downside, giving us an indication that momentum is to the upside. So that's exactly what we're going to be looking at on AU for the course of next week, guys. We have a beautiful support structure over here in a nice descending structure. Obviously we know that these descending structures normally break to the upside, so we have this beautiful area of support here where we're looking for prices to give us a nice bullish reaction from. So that's exactly what we'll be waiting for, guys. Once prices pull into our area of value, we'll be waiting to see prices give us a beautiful reaction, break above our previous support structures, obviously then retest our structures nicely, giving us that beautiful reason to jump into the bullish momentum. So on this pair on AU, guys, whether we get this beautiful risk entry if prices do correct and give us a nice reversal structure below or inside of our descending structure, or whether we wait for the break of this resistance trend line just to be sure that our downtrend has actually finally ended, guys, we will be looking for a beautiful bullish AUD strength on AUD USD. So that's our bias over the course of next week, guys. We're going to be bullish bias, looking for prices to basically just give us that entry. We are close to our point of interest, and what we need to wait for right now is for prices to react from this point of interest and then obviously provide an entry signal. So guys, that's our beautiful setup on AU. Let's go over to US30 and just have a look at what we see here. So guys, on US30, what we do see is a nice bullish structure. So if we look at extreme lows in this area here, let's just get our drawing tool. If we look at these extreme lows over here, we see prices then giving us some new resistance, some new support. We have some new resistance. And what nature can we observe about price? We can observe that as price is approaching our previous support structures that we've observed from a daily perspective, what we're seeing is prices beginning to decelerate towards this support structure. So we're seeing prices entering some sort of a descending structure. We do know that these descending structures normally do break to the upside. So that's exactly what we're going to be looking at for next week on US30. So we're going to be observing the price action within this descending structure, obviously taking into account, guys, our important key support areas over here where we see prices are currently at. What we'll be waiting for this nice bullish bias is for us to first of all see prices come down, give us the beautiful third touch of our nice descending structure, then break back above our structure. Once we break back above our previous support areas, we will then be looking for the retest and our entry for some bullish momentum to the upside, obviously trying to see if the structure will complete at the 90% rule of the structure, which is exactly where our structure started. So guys, for US30 over the course of next week, we have a very simple bullish bias because we know that this pair is long-term bullish. Yes, we are in a potential crash, but we're not seeing some daily big violations of structure as yet. Right now we're currently at the support structure, and we observe the nature of the structure, identifying that we are approaching the structure correctively. So because of this corrective move of price action, I'm going to align myself on the bullish side of things, guys, just waiting for this beautiful bullish bias setup on US30. And that's about it for our video today, guys. We've been through our analysis. We've seen the buys that we're looking for, or rather the AUD strength that we're looking for across some of these AUD based pairs, and as well as our bias on US30, our bullish bias on US30 for the course of next week. All we need to do, guys, is just be patient with structure. Let structure develop. Let structure give us those beautiful entry signals. And once we see those entry signals, guys, we're pulling the trigger. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video and received the value that was intended for you guys. If you have, definitely do drop this video a like. Let me know that you enjoyed it. Let me know that it did change your trading just a little bit and helped you for next week. Otherwise, guys, if it's your first time on the channel, definitely don't leave the video without subscribing. I will appreciate it, guys. I will see you guys in the future videos. This is Tremaine, your FX Chasers mentor. Have a great week, guys. Cheers.